Welcome to Legends, a series that delves into the lore within Horizon Forbidden West, a world where many mysteries still remain unanswered. In the 31st century, no person has dedicated themselves to revealing the secrets of the past more than Sylens, an individual whose true goals have remained as hidden as the very knowledge he seeks. Though we've witnessed parts of his journey firsthand, much of his past and ultimate intentions can only be inferred from secondhand accounts and the consequences of his actions. With all this in mind, we'll now attempt to decipher what the most enigmatic man in Horizon is truly after and how he means to seize it. This entire speculation was inspired by a moment at the conclusion of Forbidden West's main story. The Zeniths defeated, Nemesis revealed, and Apollo within reach, Sylens makes a decision that took many of us by surprise.
Stay. Help me fight that thing.
Perhaps Tilda didn't adequately define the threat. Nemesis can't be stopped. It destroyed a highly advanced Zenith colony in a matter of hours. What hope does this primitive tribal Earth have? If you brought Gaia, you wouldn't be abandoning life, you'd be saving a seed for a new world. Just as Elizabeth did. It's the choice she made. The sacrifice of all that is for the hope of what might be. If she were here in your place, she would board that shuttle, Aloy.
Found her.
Is she hurt?
Still on her feet. Thank the Ten.
Goodbye, Sylens.
Hey, where's he going?
As far away as anyone can go.
Oh. Are you sure?
You're staying.
For a time. You people are going to need all of the help you can get.
In this moment, it seems that most feel that this is a turning point for Sylens, where he, in the face of grave danger, sets his own goals and safety aside for the greater good and gains a newfound respect for Aloy. Now he and the rest of the world must prepare for the inevitable arrival of Nemesis. However, I'm not entirely convinced of this change of heart, but feel his decision to remain on Earth could just be another calculation to eventually see an ultimate goal fulfilled. When it comes to Sylens, his entire life can be boiled down to a singular concept: calculated risk. Every decision we've seen or known him to make stems from logic rather than emotion. In his pursuit of greater knowledge, he's unapologetically stolen sacred artifacts, birthed fanatical cults, and fueled civil wars, all leaving death and destruction in their wake. But for Sylens, the ends always justify the means.
You've done terrible things, Sylens. But you've also done what you could to undo them. I can't say you've balanced the scale, but at least you've tried.
To be clear, Aloy, I would do it all again. A few more safeguards, perhaps, but basically the same.
Really. So much for learning from mistakes.
If the risk is worth the reward, Sylens will find a way to see it done. So, for this man who has only ever seen others as simply assets or obstacles in his various missions, to suddenly grow a conscience in some 6 months between the events of Zero Dawn and Forbidden West seems just too out of character for a man with his particular history. With this assumption in mind, that Sylens didn't remain on Earth for any form of altruism, we now ask ourselves, what reward would Sylens feel is worth risking his very life? Wealth, power, worship, and all manner of other driving factors have never held much sway over the disgraced Banuk shaman. For him, the only thing ever worth risking life and limb over is knowledge. Braving smoldering ruins, staging daring rescues, and battling against forces from beyond our world have only ever been in service of this singular drive. Through Hades, he learned skills long lost to centuries past, and of the threat that currently hurtles towards Earth. His partnership with Aloy yielded answers to what became of the Old Ones, and why those of the world today were robbed of the knowledge intended for them. And finally, after Far Zenith's defeat, the entirety of human knowledge is within reach thanks to the copy of the Apollo archive on board the Odyssey colony ship. Seemingly, the ultimate prize for a man like Sylens, yet he has chosen to remain, rather than escaping far beyond the reach of Nemesis. So, what could it be that would require him to stay on planet? One could speculate that the Zenith's life extension therapies could be enticing enough to stay. What's the good of having centuries of human discoveries at your fingertips with only one lifetime to learn them? I'd be inclined to agree with this assumption, but I'm not convinced Sylens would need to be on Earth to see this through. Whether on the Odyssey's initial journey or its return, I think it's likely some manner of immortality treatments were on board to ensure their continued ageless existence wherever they might go. More might have even been in development at their base, ensuring their continued survival if they had been allowed to flee the planet for a second time. In my mind, the only reason Sylens has to stay resides in Nemesis itself. Even if he has Apollo and goes on to achieve a zenith level of immortality, he will always be confined to the limitations of his own human mind. Nemesis, though vengeful and destructive, is the culmination of Far Zenith's work in transhuman studies, the logical next step from the immortality of the human spirit to the immortality of the human mind. Calculated risk, an all-in wager, his own mortality against timeless, digital transcendence. A priceless secret the inner workings of Nemesis may only be able to provide. Even when working towards the greater good, Sylens has found ways to ensure his own personal benefit. When he gifted Aloy the lance among the ruins of Gaia Prime, along with having the capability to harness Dr. Sobek's master override against Hades, it was also designed to remotely download its memory and transmit it to a portable storage unit for further interrogation. With the knowledge gained from the capture, along with anything of value within Apollo and intact Zenith tech, I could see Sylens attempting a similar strategy when it comes to finally confronting Nemesis. Once under control, Sylens could then attempt to upload his own consciousness to an open Nemesis system, or wipe it entirely to then be its lone ascended consciousness. A plot, if successful, all culminating in true digital transcendence. A timeless form capable of unraveling the mysteries of all creation in ways the human mind could not even begin to comprehend. For Sylens, I can't imagine a greater prize. The threat of death is certainly apparent when it comes to Nemesis, but Sylens has been aware of the AI earlier than anyone on Earth that we know of. Vital information extracted from Hades, making him the de facto expert on the subject, now that the Zeniths are gone. Though he may still depart before its arrival, this time can provide him the means to weigh his options to see if his ascension is within the realm of favorable possibility. A logical calculation that will certainly inform his choice, as it always has.
I'll let you know when it's time to go. And try not to mess with Tilda while you're in here, okay? I don't need the two of you butting heads.
Ah, yes. About your Zenith ally. I wonder if you understand what kind of person you're dealing with. For someone to live as long as she has, outlast as many calamities, well, your goals may be aligned now, but I'd watch for the moment they diverge.
Yeah, I'm aware. Reminds me of someone else I know.
Survival is only a necessity to my greater purpose, Aloy. I'd hoped you'd recognize that by now.
Do you know something or not?
Oh, I know a great deal of things. But on this, just call it a feeling.
As Nemesis rapidly approaches Earth, the likelihood of humanity's success will soon be judged. If Sylens decides to stay, it must mean he feels the odds are favorable enough that the enemy can be defeated. And if he's decided to stake his life on a gamble like this, I'd bet that digital transcendence is the only prize that's worth the risk. And that brings our journey to an end. If you'd like to see more content like this, likes and shares are always appreciated. Or if you're hungry for more Horizon lore and theories, consider subscribing and checking out the rest of our lore library. Also consider supporting the channel on Patreon so we can keep making content just like this. Check out the link in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and keep questing.